Okay, welcome back to Into Uncharted Waters. I'm your host, Anya Bohill, and today I'm joined by someone whose leadership and impact reach far beyond the classroom. Ivy is a senior who currently serves as the varsity volleyball captain and the chair of the Social Impact Board. She's also the 2025 Tarrant County Teen of Impact winner, all while navigating the college application process. In this episode, we'll explore what it means to lead with integrity, create meaningful change in your community, and balance ambition with self-care during one of the busiest seasons of high school life. Okay, so welcome, Ivy. The first question is, you've held several leadership positions from team captain to board chair. How would you describe your personal leadership style?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I would say my leadership style is more of like leading by example and taking time to show others like how I think like we can put our best effort into something, and just showing my teammates or my like members of the board that my dedication and like this and what they're doing, their impact doesn't go unnoticed, and also taking the time to be understanding of everyone's situation and like developing a relationship with each of the players or members on my team in order to develop like a really good close-knit community.
It's amazing. What's one experience that's really shaped how you lead others?
I think if I remember correctly, like 2 years ago, I used to work with this mental performance coach for volleyball. And one of the things that we really talked about was just understanding the different types of communication on the court and off the court, and like nonverbal and verbal. And one of the times before one of our like big tournaments, it's called Triple Crown. And basically there's like 300 something plus recruiters there waiting and watching you. And it was our 16s year, which is like peak recruiting time. And then he was the one who really encouraged me and the other captain to kind of branch out of our comfort zone and host our own meeting without the coaches there. And I think that really showed like the impact of what I have the ability to do for my team without like having a coach to guide me, and just being able to step up into that role.
Yeah, so being captain, comes with a lot of responsibilities. So how do you kind of balance, friendship with, the other girls on the team, but also authority? And, how do you kind of navigate that dynamic?
I think it's just really knowing when to be a friend versus when to be a captain. Like if I'm on the court or playing volleyball with one of my teammates on the court, or like during a game, that's the time I need to kind of shift into a different mindset of guiding my team and everyone to like achieve our best outcome. But then like off the court, I want to be like a friend to everyone and being able to understand and being just someone they can trust. But I also think being like friends and being captain are interconnected.
Yeah.
In a way, like if I'm friends with someone and get to know them on a personal level, that obviously helps like impact my leadership towards that person and helps me guide each one of my teammates.
Yeah. So what's the most valuable lesson that you've learned? I mean, whether that's about collaboration or anything else from your time in volleyball, and maybe if you even want to give a little bit of like your background of, how long you've been playing and like things like that.
Yeah, so I've been playing volleyball since I was 6, I think. So it's like
Long time.
been the one sport that I've dedicated most of my time to, and I think part of that is obviously you mentioned collaboration, big part, like getting to be on a team with people and not being like a single sport, just getting to work with other people, and then also. Like the volleyball community in Texas is so big, and so I'm getting to meet all these new people from different clubs as well in different ages. And I think one of the most important lessons I mentioned a little bit earlier was about like learning to collaborate, but also noticing like the small things about your teammates.
Right.
And like on court being able to like learn how to best support somebody, whether that's through words or it's through like nonverbal communication, like eye contact or gestures. I think that's really impacted my leadership ability.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Okay, next we're going to kind of transition into your social impact and purpose work. So as the chair of the Social Impact Board, what kinds of initiatives or projects have you been most passionate about leading?
For Social Impact Board, I think one of my main roles is doing the drives.
Okay.
And now, like, I was on drives committee since I've joined. But I think that's my favorite thing since it's a school-wide community thing. And when it's, like, board-specific, that's how it kind of starts out. Like, we're bringing us together to film a video, and that's always fun, planning like the different characters and who's going to be what to promote like our coat drive. I think we had like snowmans and penguins and polar bears. It was so cute. And then also it's like a school-wide thing, so we get the chance to talk to like middle school and upper school, and just getting the chance to connect with the entire school community and branch out.
Yeah, that's really nice. So what inspired you to get involved in, the social impact work in the first place?
For me, I think a big part of just like who I am as a person is like the connections I can make with other
Yeah.
people and getting to learn different people's stories. And through social impact, I feel like I found like my way to do that, and being in like a community that I'm not so familiar with. But getting to meet these new people and like forming small connections with them and learning about their lifestyles and how I can like better impact and understand them.
Yeah. Okay, so winning the 2025 Tarrant County Teen of Impact Award is such a huge accomplishment for you, but what does that recognition represent to you?
I think like in the end goal, obviously it was really nice to be able to like have the title and like have my accomplishments celebrated, but I think that like opportunity was a big leadership moment, since for me like when you're a teen of impact, you're creating your own team, so I had to gather people from like outside and inside of school who were really passionate about
Oh,
that.
nice.
And it
Okay.
was like a 9-week campaign, so
Oh,
it's like a
wow. That's a
long
long
time to
time.
like dedicate to it, and I understand that from people like outside of school as well. Like people have other commitments, and
Right.
so during that campaign there were like team members who had to drop out, and but it's like learning how to navigate and move forward along with that and finding ways to encourage my team. And also that was like really the first time I've ever fundraised for
Yeah.
something, and so at first it was like a bit awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt like I was just asking people for money.
Money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
like I didn't feel too comfortable with that. But then later it's like I kind of learned the importance of sharing like, my why I'm doing that
Yeah.
to each person, and really like helping convey my like why I'm passionate about this and how this is like really impactful to American Heart Association.
Yeah. Do you want to explain a little bit about the project that you led? Just to kind
For
of,
the Teen
for
of
the Teen of
Impact?
Impact,
Yes,
yes.
okay. And so for Teen of Impact, I was nominated among like I think a lot of other people throughout the United States, and it was a 9-week campaign for American Heart Association to see who could like raise the most money, but then also support cardiovascular health and just healthcare in general.
Awareness and stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
basically. And so I think each week we had like a different initiative, and so one was like nutrition, and we would go maybe like to a food bank or something and to help serve meals and create meals for people. And so there was like a new theme each week, and one was like CPR, so we'd create CPR awareness videos and things like that. And then at the end of the campaign, it was you kind of like accumulated a total amount of money, and then you got to attend. If you could make it, I couldn't go, unfortunately, but like there was like a gala at the end.
Oh, that's really fun.
But the people were super sweet and supportive.
Yeah, that's really fun. 9 weeks is a long time.
It
Like
was a
that's like
very
the
long
entire
time.
summer. But
Yeah, and it was like during April, so it's like super busy.
I
so, like,
bet.
yeah.
How do you hope your work in social impact continues beyond just high school?
Social impact and like volunteering is definitely something I want to do in the future. Because I want to go into medicine, and just being able to like when I'm in college, getting out in my community and working in these hospital environments, or finding shelters that I can volunteer at, and just those small things during my free time to help me build connections within my community.
Okay, so moving on to kind of balance and perspective, you're juggling leadership, academics, your athletics, and also college season, so all the college applications. How do you manage to stay grounded through it all and, not experience burnout?
I'm gonna be so honest. I do get burned out or stressed out like during when like tests overlap a lot. But I think the one thing that kind of helps me like manage that is having my like friends and teachers that I can talk to, and just having time to relax to myself, and also making those small moments to spend with my family and have times to relax.
So I'd say, like, looking back to even, like, previous years, is there any big takeaway now that you're a senior and you can kind of, like, look back and reflect, like, any strategies you think that, like, helped you be able to, manage your stress and kind of, like,
I think for me, with like handling volleyball when we were like traveling a lot, one of the big things that I always had to do is like just sit down and focus on one thing at a time and finish that before I could move on to something else. And I got like behind when I was traveling a lot, and so making sure I am like ahead of the schedule a little bit, but also taking time to meet with my teachers a lot.
yeah. Okay, so last kind of category, like reflection and advice. I mean, looking back at your high school years, what moment or project stands out to you as something you're most proud of?
This also kind of relates back to social impacts, but outside of school, I kind of do these nutritional education classes
Oh,
at Family
nice.
Gateway, and so I've done that, I think, from ninth grade until
Until
now, and so it's
now?
like a big
Yeah.
consistency thing, and I think that's why I'm most proud of it, both because of like the impact that I'm making on
Mm-hmm.
these people at Family Gateway. So basically, what I do is like I'll go there and I'll do a little presentation on nutrition, and I created a recipe booklet for them, and so they have access to like free accessible meals that they can make during their time
Yeah.
at Family Gateway, since now they're like making their own meals and not having them pre-made. And so I think the reason I'm most proud of that is both like the consistency and also like stepping out of my comfort zone to make an impact on my community.
Yeah. So something we talk about with a lot of, guests on our episodes is obstacles and challenges. Do you think in your past high school years there has been, a big obstacle or a big challenge you've, had to overcome that's really shaped who you are today?
Like in terms of my social
Whether
impact.
that's social impact, whether that was through, leadership in volleyball or even just speaking up and kind of, establishing your role as a leader
Mm-hmm.
or through academics and
Mm-hmm.
time management.
Mm-hmm. I think I have like examples for all of those.
Go
So
for it.
okay, let me think. I think academic wise, one of the things that I had to learn to do is learn like just being able to prioritize what I'm willing to put my time into and what I
Yeah.
have the time to put into, and like thinking of the overall outcome for my future. If that makes sense. And so it's learning how like when to put so much effort into something and like when to give a little less, and learning to when
Yeah.
to like prioritize different things. And then for social impact, a lot of the times I feel like when we're doing social impact, it's hard to get other people to understand the reasoning and
Yeah.
like why this is a big or why this holds so much importance to other people.
Hmm.
And I think that goes back to what I mentioned before, like learning to share my why and learning how to
Yeah.
develop connections with other people through that.
Oh, that's really nice. Okay, so what is one piece of advice that you would give to younger students who want to get involved in, their community?
Um, I think one of the big things I would say is make sure you're passionate about what you're doing, and like don't try to
Yeah.
force something just because you want like these service hours. And so if you really do want to make an impact in your community, it has to be something that you really love doing and like you're willing to put time into and like keeping it up.
Yeah. How do you define success for yourself, and has that definition kind of, changed or evolved over time?
I think like definitely when I was younger, I always thought of success as like the end result. Oh, did I get like what I wanted at
Hmm.
the end? Are these results like exactly how they should be? But I think over like my high school years, I've learned to think of success more as like the path that I'm taking there, and how I've been able to learn from like my mistakes or things
Yeah.
that didn't go my way, and how I was able to take that and kind of reshape it for my future, and also like the people that I'm meeting and connecting with along the way and how I can impact their lives.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big thing because I feel like even now, like, I think even like myself is like success is a thing. It's like, oh, I get 100 on a test or like I do well in something like
Yeah.
that. And for me, like that's a win. Like I'll
Yeah.
take that as
Yeah.
success. But I think, mentioning like the whole journey and not just the end result, but kind of the path you take is also a part of success.
I feel like I've definitely been able to see that like going through high school,
Yeah.
and so like being a senior now, I've been able to like look back
Look
on those
back.
moments and see like, oh, that one test grade did not
Yeah.
change like the path of my life. It's like those
Because I
small
feel like even
things.
now when we get like bad grades, we're like, oh, like this is gonna impact like my
Yeah.
entire grade.
Yeah.
But like, no, even like, I mean, as a sophomore, I mean, I don't know what else like the future's gonna hold. But like, even looking back to middle school, I remember being like so upset about like little
Yeah.
things. But now looking back, I'm like, oh, it really didn't
I think it
matter.
goes back to like my mom always said like don't wish to grow up so quickly, and like
Yeah.
I feel like that's just now looking back I know what she
Really
means.
resonates.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess going off of that, who has been, a big mentor or role model for you, and how have they influenced your journey?
I think there's like many role models and mentors that I have in my life, but one of the biggest has been Miss Allen. She's an English teacher at Hockaday, and she's both someone I could just talk to about things on my mind, like I guess things outside of school,
Yeah.
volleyball, recruiting, like college applications. But then also she really challenged me. Like her class was, I think the first class I had that never, I only had one out of class essay, and all her assignments were creative ones, and I'm not the most like creative on the
Yeah.
top, like just spot on person, but taking her class and having her to like push me towards that, I think that creativity like goes into aspects like other aspects I pursue of my life, whether that's
Yeah.
like doing research or just finding different ways to solve problems in my community.
Yeah. So finally, last question, what legacy do you hope to leave behind, at school or even just in your community in general?
And so at school, I think a lot of the things that I'm involved in, there's always like a big family culture to it.
Yeah.
And so I really hope to kind of continue that, whether it's like volleyball or social impact board, but creating an environment where everyone feels comfortable sharing their ideas and doing like what they're passionate about.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us and answering questions. And we know like senior year is very busy.
Thank you for
So,
having me.
yeah. Okay, we'll see you next time.